want to thank you guys all for coming first, and then I have a speech about drinking and driving that I want to say to you guys. So in February 2013, I was involved in a drunk driving accident. While nobody was severely injured, both vehicles were totaled, and the hatred that was held over the man who hit a 15-year-old girl going 75 miles per hour still holds. The man didn't have to go to jail that night because he got a small cut on his forehead, and since it was in the time where that person died because of he didn't get his medicine in jail, they didn't send him to jail just because they were scared that it would get infected. So because of that, he received a DUI, and then the next day he went back to his normal lifestyle, maybe with some guilt that he sent 3 people to the hospital that night. Drinking and driving is a huge problem in the United States, and according to National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, every 2 minutes a person is injured in a drunk driving crash. Why is that okay? And why isn't there something being done about this? This is a problem and it needs to change. In 2013, 28.7 million people admitted to drinking while under the influence of alcohol just in the United States. People know that drinking and driving is bad and puts lives at risk, but why do they continue to do it? Every day in America, another 27 people die as a result of drunk driving and crashes, says National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. So every day, 27 people die because of drunk driving, and I'm sure on the holidays it's more often than that too, or more people than that. And that's every day, so it really adds up per year. This needs to stop, but how? All states have some type of law in place for drunk driving, but unfortunately fail to enforce them. If we start enforcing these laws and creating more strict laws, the statistics for drunk driving will go down. If somebody were to lose their license because they were caught drinking and driving the first time, the number of people to drink and drive would go down. Does anyone have any questions at this time?
I do. Do you know anybody that has been a drunk driver?
Well, before that accident that we got into, my dad drank and drove because he didn't think it was that big of a deal. But then after the accident, he kind of just stopped and realized that it does hurt people and it does affect anyone, not just the driver. Anyone else? Yep.
That's
Okay. How can you crack down and make more strict laws?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's just you have to be more strict on the laws, and maybe like cab, whatever, maybe lower that, and just just small things find a sober driver before you go drinking, or just
educate.
Yeah, just kind of be smart about it. Anyone else? You don't have to ask your question, it's okay. Okay, I'll keep going then.
Okay.
If these changes happen, the death that happens as a result of drinking and driving will go down. The number of innocent people's lives being taken will go down. These changes will create a safer environment for everybody. And while there will still be people who decide to drink and drive, the consequences for drinking and driving will be more harsh. These are the changes that need to happen, but what can one do to fix this issue? So, to limit the amount of drinking and driving, one could offer to be a sober driver for the night, and then maybe you could just rotate, yeah. Many times people find themselves drunk with nobody to give them a ride. They feel the only alternative is for them to drive themselves, and that's how a lot of drinking and driving happens. So, I don't know, maybe if you just find a sober driver in the beginning of the night, just answering your question, then you don't have to worry about drinking and driving at the end of the night when you're
already drunk.
Yeah, already drunk.
Have you ever done that?
Sober drunk for someone? Yeah, I have. Yep. Mom always asks me my mom always asks me for a ride when she doesn't have one, and my dad has done that before. So yeah, if people know that usually I'm not really doing anything, so it's easy just to call me. If the drinker is stubborn, you can take their keys, and then calling a cab or a sober family member or friend can also be an alternative. So that they know someone's coming, or just take their keys so they aren't
Yeah.
tempted to drive. In conclusion, if you're not thinking about the dangers or harming someone else's life when you know you've been drinking and you get behind the wheel, you're not only selfish, but you're reckless, careless, and senseless. Of course, when you get behind the wheel while you're drinking, you're probably thinking you are going to kill someone with a family, a whole life ahead of them. The laws that prohibit drinking and driving need to be strict and more enforced for drunk driving to decrease. And adding on to that, like, the solutions to drinking and driving, just finding like a sober driver, or calling a cab or anything. But just don't be a statistic and don't stick out.
I know
Who
some
knows?
places in Fargo, they supply the cab.
Yep, they could. Yeah, that's. My mom owns a bar, and so she's offered to buy many people
Drive,
like
cabs.
cabs, or even to drive them home with their vehicle.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
it works a lot of the time, but sometimes people are so stubborn that
Well, they don't wanna leave their
Yep, their
cars
vehicle.
uptown.
Yep.
So,
Mhm.
they choose to drive
Very
it.
true, very true. And it's not like it just affects you and your family, it can affect a whole family, many people. Yep. But thank you again for listening to my speech, and I hope you have a good night.